I pulled 50 of the most popular Barndominium floor plans being sold right now in 2026 from major plan companies, steel kit manufacturers, and design firms, and I evaluated every single one against the same criteria: cost efficiency, build complexity, livability, financing friendliness, and long-term resale value. Out of 50 plans, only 7 actually passed every test. The rest had at least one serious flaw: wasted square footage, a layout that confuses appraisers, a roofline that triples your framing cost, or a shop-to-living ratio that scares off lenders. Today I'm showing you exactly which 7 plans made the cut, why the other 43 didn't, and the specific design principles that separate a floor plan worth building from one that just looks good in a rendering. Stay until the end, because plan number 1 solved a problem that almost none of the other 49 even attempted to address. This channel is Homes and Haven, where every video is built around verified data, real cost breakdowns, and honest analysis rather than sponsored opinions. If you're planning a build and want decisions backed by actual numbers instead of guesswork, subscribing keeps this kind of research coming to you every week. Now, let's get into the 7 plans that earned their place. Before I show you the 7 winners, you need to understand the 5 criteria I used, because this is the framework that determines whether any floor plan, including ones you might already be considering, is actually worth building. A floor plan can look incredible in a photo gallery, but fall short when it comes to daily function, storage, privacy, shop space, garage layout, or future flexibility. The best Barndominium plans are not just about curb appeal. They are about smart square footage, efficient layouts, open concept living, practical utility space, and the ability to match your build style, land, and budget. Here's exactly what I scored each plan against. First, structural simplicity. Does the footprint use a simple rectangular shell, or does it require complex roof lines and multiple structural bays that drive up framing cost? Second, square footage efficiency. Does every room earn its place, or is there wasted hallway and circulation space? Third, bedroom and bathroom configuration relative to financing. Does the layout match what lenders and appraisers expect to see, or does it create appraisal problems? Fourth, shop-to-living ratio. For plans that include workshop space, is it proportional, or does it tip into territory that scares off conventional lenders? And fifth, long-term flexibility. Does the plan accommodate the way a family's needs change over 10, 20, or 30 years? Most of the 43 plans that didn't make this list failed on at least 2 of these 5 criteria simultaneously. Let's get into the 7 that didn't. Plan 1. The efficient single-story 3-bedroom. This is the plan that solved a problem almost none of the other 49 attempted to address. How do you build genuine family functionality without sacrificing structural simplicity? This floor plan includes 2,800 square feet with an open great room, spacious kitchen with walk-in pantry, 3 bedrooms including a master suite with walk-in closet, and a 2-car garage. Single-story construction eliminates stairs completely, making this design work for all ages. The rectangular footprint keeps structural engineering simple and reduces construction timeline. What earns this plan the top spot isn't anything flashy. It's the discipline of the footprint. Your land, setbacks, and driveway access decide more than most people expect. And in 2026, labor and schedule risk can matter more than small plan differences. This plan resists the temptation to add architectural complexity for the sake of curb appeal. A clean rectangle keeps the steel kit pricing predictable, keeps the roof line simple enough that a standard crew can erect it without specialty trades, and puts the budget where it actually matters, into finishes you live with every day instead of structural complexity you'll never notice once the walls are up. The single-story configuration also solves the financing problem better than almost any other layout on this list. 3 bedrooms and a conventional 2-car garage are exactly what appraisers expect to see, which means this plan has the deepest pool of comparable sales data behind it of anything in our top 7. If you're building your forever home and want zero drama at the appraisal stage, this is the layout to start from. Plan 2. The compact 2-bedroom with a dedicated flex room. Plan 2 earned its spot by solving the single biggest mistake first-time Barndo builders make: treating every extra bedroom as automatically worth the cost. Builders in 2026 are using a flex room as a dedicated office to avoid the higher taxes and material costs of a third bedroom. This is one of the most purchased two-bedroom plans on the market, featuring a stronger long-term layout with a dedicated flex room and better separation of spaces. Two-bedroom barndominiums get dismissed too quickly by people who assume more bedrooms always equals more value. Two-bedroom barndominium floor plans are most often chosen by couples, empty nesters, and buyers building a long-term home rather than a starter house. The priority is not minimum square footage, but livability, a true primary suite, a second bedroom that works for guests or family, and flexible space for an office, hobbies, or future needs. The best two-bedroom barndos feel intentional, not downsized. What makes this specific design earn a spot in the top 7 is the flex room execution. Instead of a generic third bedroom that adds property tax burden and construction costs for a room that might sit empty most of the year, the flex room is designed with French doors instead of the standard bedroom door, no closet requirement that would otherwise classify it as a legal bedroom, and direct sight lines to the main living area that make it function as a real home office rather than an afterthought. For couples and downsizers, this plan delivers genuine livability at a meaningfully lower tax and construction burden than a comparable three-bedroom design. Plan 3, the two-story master-on-main hybrid. This plan made the cut because it solves a problem that's becoming more urgent every year as land prices climb. How do you get genuine four-bedroom functionality without a footprint that requires acreage most buyers can't afford? A high-efficiency two-story layout packs 4 bedrooms into a standard 40 by 60 shell, maximizing every cubic inch of space. This is one of the most popular kit-to-build two-story plans because 2026 builders prefer for using a standard rectangular shell, the most affordable shape to build, while the second story provides the master-on-main privacy that modern buyers demand for resale. Two-story barndominiums are surging in popularity in 2026 as land costs rise and builders look to maximize their square footage on smaller footprints. The best two-story plans utilize the vertical space for dramatic vaulted ceilings in the great room, while tucked-away lofts provide essential extra living areas. The honest reason this beats most other two-story attempts on the market: it keeps the primary suite on the ground floor. That single decision solves the aging-in-place problem that disqualifies most two-story barndo plans from long-term livability, while still delivering the land efficiency benefit that makes vertical building attractive in the first place. Building two-story specifically maximizes smaller lots and creates natural privacy zones between floors. And this plan gets that trade-off right by putting the privacy zone upstairs for the kids or guests while keeping the homeowner's daily life entirely on one level. Plan 4, the compact efficiency house. This is the smallest plan in our top 7, and it earns its spot for a reason most people overlook: discipline. This 28 by 35 single-story design delivers 980 square feet with 2 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms, and no garage, and a layout that eliminates every unnecessary inch of wasted space. The compact footprint uses smart design where every room serves a clear purpose. This design targets couples, empty nesters, or anyone refusing to heat and cool rooms they never use. This layout proves you do not need 5,000 square feet to enjoy the barndominium life. It focuses on smart design over sheer size, often featuring a simple rectangular footprint with 2 bedrooms and 1 or 2 baths, maximizing every inch with an efficient, open-concept living area. The cozy compact design combines the kitchen, living, and dining areas, and often includes a small and practical utility room. This earns the spot in our top 7 specifically because most compact plans I evaluated tried to cram traditional home room counts into a small footprint and ended up with cramped, awkward circulation. This plan does the opposite. It commits fully to compact living, eliminates rooms that wouldn't get genuine daily use, and delivers a genuinely comfortable home at under 1,000 square feet. For the right buyer, downsizers, retirees, or someone building a low-maintenance secondary property, this is one of the most financially efficient designs on the entire market in 2026. Plan 5, the shop-forward family layout. For barndo buyers who genuinely need serious workshop space, this plan beat out every other shop house design I evaluated because it gets the proportions right. This plan is ideal for growing families who need workshop space, balancing living space with workshop capacity while fitting most budgets and lot sizes. It's one of the most popular plans in its category because it balances living and workshop needs effectively. Most of the shop floor plans I disqualified failed on the financing criteria specifically. A barndominium with one bedroom and a 3,000 square foot shop scares off lenders because they can't find comparable sales to support the appraisal. This plan avoids that trap by keeping the living to shop ratio proportional, giving the family enough genuine bedroom count and finished living space that an appraiser has comparable sales to work from, while still delivering real, usable shop square footage for trucks, equipment, hobbies, or a home-based business. This living-to-shop ratio is exactly the kind of insider detail that protects you at the appraisal stage, and is something most plan gallery sites never mention. Many barndominium home plans are a house, which is a combined shop and house. The key to a successful layout here is the connector, meaning how the shop and living space relate to each other matters as much as the size of either one individually. This plan gets that connector detail right, with a mudroom and utility transition zone between the two areas that keep shop dust and noise from bleeding into the living space. Plan 6. The Wraparound Porch Family Home. This plan earns its spot for solving one of the most underrated value drivers in barndominium design: outdoor living space that's actually integrated into the structure rather than bolted on as an afterthought. A barn-inspired floor plan with a wraparound porch is a 4-bedroom design with a contemporary, bright interior, an open floor plan, and a vaulted ceiling. The kitchen island is ready for casual meals with a level eating bar, with built-in shelves in the pantry. Deep wraparound and L-shaped porches continue to trend strongly, extending usable living space outdoors while reinforcing the timeless American farmhouse aesthetic. What separates this specific plan from the dozens of other wraparound porch designs I evaluated is that the porch depth and roofline pitch were engineered together as a single system, rather than the porch being an add-on to a structure designed with that in mind. A generous mudroom with built-in lockers and a bench for active rural lifestyles is paired directly with the porch entry sequence. For families who genuinely use outdoor space daily, this plan extends the functional living area without the cost of additional conditioned square footage, which is one of the smartest value moves available in barndominium design. Plan 7. The Multi-Generational In-Law Suite Layout. This is the most structurally complex plan in our top 7, and it earned its spot specifically because it solves a genuinely difficult design challenge correctly: how to provide complete independence for 2 households under one roof without the layout falling apart functionally. This barndominium floor plan gives you a relaxed layout on one convenient level, with plenty of counter space in the kitchen, a large pantry, an island, and a covered wraparound porch. The primary suite sits at the back of the plan and impresses with an extra big closet and a private office. An in-law suite resides on a separate side of the plan and features an island kitchen, a dining area, a great room, a bedroom suite, and an office, plus a versatile loft. What disqualified most of the multi-generational plans I evaluated was a failure to give the secondary unit a genuinely complete, independent kitchen and entrance, instead treating it as an afterthought bedroom suite with a kitchenette. Sliding barn doors and movable partitions allow spaces to transition from open to private on demand, ideal for multi-generational living. This plan delivers a fully independent secondary living unit, which matters enormously given that multi-generational buying now sits at roughly 14 to 17% of all homebuyers nationally, climbing to 19 to 21% among Gen X buyers, specifically caring for aging parents or accommodating adult children moving back home. The cost premium for this level of complexity is real, but for the families who genuinely need it, this is the design that delivers it correctly. I want to be honest about the patterns that disqualify the vast majority of plans I reviewed, because these are the mistakes you'll want to watch for in any floor plan you're considering, even ones not on this list. The most common disqualifier was structural complexity, disguised as architectural interest. Multiple roof lines, jogs in the exterior wall, and irregular footprints look distinctive in a rendering, but drive framing and roofing costs up significantly, with no corresponding increase in livability. The second most common issue was wasted circulation space, hallways and transition zones that exist purely to connect rooms rather than serving any function themselves, eating square footage that could have gone toward usable living space. The third was shop-to-living ratios that would create genuine financing problems. Plans where the workshop or garage footprint so dramatically outweighed the living space that conventional appraisal and lending becomes a real obstacle. Regional banks and credit unions tend to be more flexible than national banks for unusual ratios, but the safest plans avoid the problem entirely. The fourth issue was plans that looked good for the family's needs today, but had no flexibility for how those needs change over decades. A third bedroom with no logical path to becoming an office, a shop with no potential for future conversion to living space if priorities shift. The fifth was simply too much unconditioned or underutilized square footage, large porches or bonus rooms that sound appealing but rarely get used in practice once the novelty wears off. The 7 plans that made this list all avoided these traps. They're not the flashiest renderings in the 50 I reviewed. They're the ones that actually function, finance, and age well over the decades you'll spend living in them. How to use this list for your own build. There is no single best Barndominium floor plan. The right plan is the one that fits how you live, what your land allows, and how you want your home to function 5, 10, and 20 years from now. Use these 7 as a starting framework, not a final answer. Start with bedrooms. Buy for the life you will live, not the life you have this month. Confirm footprint. Your land, setbacks, and driveway access decide more than most people expect. Decide on shop needs early. If the shop is real, design around it from day one. Whichever of these 7 categories resonates most with your situation, take it to a plan designer or kit manufacturer in your region and have them confirm it against your specific land, your specific lender, and your specific budget before you commit. That's the complete breakdown of which Barndominium floor plans actually hold up under real scrutiny in 2026, and why the other 43 I reviewed didn't make the cut. If this analysis gave you a clearer framework for evaluating your own build, the most useful thing you can do is subscribe to Homes in Haven. This channel is dedicated to research-driven breakdowns of barndominium design, construction costs, and homeownership decisions, built for people who want verified information before they commit hundreds of thousands of dollars to a project. If you found this useful, a like helps this kind of in-depth comparison reach more people doing the same research you are. And if you have a specific plan or design question you'd like covered in a future video, leave it in the comments. Every question gets read, and the best one shape will we cover next. This has been Homes in Haven. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.